inspiring leaders all around the globe, and at the same time to enlighten our view on our understanding of development and prosperity. Regarding the topic that brings us together, which is the importance of women in achieving the SDGs, I couldn't start by anything different than sharing with you that it was actually a Colombian woman who, back in 2011, came up with the idea of a new development agenda. And it was thanks to the help of other public servants that were women, and the willingness and the desire and the commitment of different member states that this came up as a reality under the figure of the SDGs. So it is also that doesn't only makes us proud, but gives us an extraordinary responsibility of working together on this achievement of the SDGs, which at the same time has been a commitment not only from the design of the SDGs, but also on the possibility of implementing strategic actions to fulfill them. And at the same time, and now, after the COVID pandemic and their understanding of this urgent call of the decade of action, which we are fully committed. So I must say also that, as the Vice President was just sharing with you, President Iván Duque launched and issued in 2019 the first National Development Plan that was directly aligned with the SDGs. And this, of course, was something that provided a wider spectrum for women to act, react, and participate in these achievements of the SDGs in several areas, as the ones were shared with you, not only from the political side, but also at the private sectors and in the civil society. The basis premise of this National Development Plan was a plan that was called Plan for Colombia, Plan for Equality. And I think this makes a difference, because when at least I think about gender equality, I like to think about the equality that recognizes the differences. And that is one of the major values of the woman participating in every single step and in every single area and topic of development. In my case, as First Lady, I've had the honor of serving my country for the past 3 years and a half. And let's face it, it's not an easy task and it's not a particular structured role. Actually, in most countries, like in Colombia, the role of the First Lady is a role that is usually scarce in resources, that has a lack of defined functions, that is surrounded by tons of expectations, but few responsibilities that are really limited or demarked. And at the same time, and in an unfortunate way, it is also a role that has been sometimes idealized under some banal stereotypes. So this is when I found on the SDGs a great opportunity to give a structure and to somehow make my work and my willingness to serve a little bit more formal. I have to say I'm a lawyer by professional, but I've always had this feeling and this commitment with serving and serving others. So I found definitely on the SDGs one that changed my role as First Lady. And it was SDG 17, because it calls for partnerships and it calls for alliances in order to achieve all of the other 16 SDGs. And I've been always a believer in the power of partnerships. I've been always a believer in the power of working together and the power of bringing together forces and efforts. So under the light of the SDG 17, I've had also the honor of being the Goodwill Ambassador of SDG 17 for Colombia. And at the same time, I had this opportunity of discovering two major responsibilities directly aligned with the SDG 17, which are advocacy and convening. Under those two major capacities, I've been working and I've been framing all my work. And I can say now I'm not only convinced, but I can confirm the power of partnerships, the power of bringing together, the power of articulating different sectors, the power of working to unite, not only for efficient and effective results, but also for connecting from our human capacities. I've been working with different sectors in Colombia: private sector, public sector, academia, international organizations, civil society, all of them coming together in order to achieve something that I believe is also in the nature of women: collective well-being. So those major things I have assumed as major responsibilities and have led as one of our major legacies for societies. And in this endeavor, I've had also the honor of working together with extraordinary women. I have to say that we have around 1,103 municipalities in Colombia, and almost 90% of those local governments have women who are serving as first ladies of the territory, or as we used to call them, social administrators, if that's the word, por gestoras. So I've been working together with them, and we have defined, I was very glad to hear Dr. From Rwanda, who was just sharing the experience with nutrition. Actually, I had this ambitious and probably holistic view on how to serve and how to better serve my society. And I've decided to concentrate my work and to focus on different programs and projects according to different stages in what I call the course of life. And it goes from 0 up to 28 years old. 0 to 6 years, 6 years old in Colombia is considered early childhood. Then from 6 to 14 is what we call adolescence, and then we have from 14 up to 28 what we consider the youth. What had happened in Colombia is that we have had an extraordinary history of really committed work and very good achievements in terms of investing in early childhood. But unfortunately, there was a gap after 6 years old. We do have a law that as of 3 years ago was there, sitting there unfortunate, to serve the youth from 14 up to 28 years old. But what we did from our office was to figure the whole process as the course of life in order to include that link of adolescence and pull the work that we've been doing correctly in early childhood towards the youth. So now that's why we call the course of life. And we've been working together in two major issues. First, in nutrition. And this is very important to understand, and is that we've been doing it together. We have established actually what we a social network, social human network, which is very different from the virtual ones, although we are very familiar with virtuality after COVID pandemic. The truth behind it is that we have established positive, direct conversations within the territories to work first on nutrition. And as the doctor from Rwanda was just mentioning, we are working under the premises, which is our National Alliance for Nutrition, with two main objectives: diminish deaths due to malnutrition in kids under 5 years old, and at the same time providing support for food security in Colombia. So there are no minor things. Those are things that definitely impact the sustainable social and economic development of our countries. In the case of Colombia, because we are truly convinced as well that if you invest in the capacities for the youngest to develop their brains in order to have all the abilities for productivity in the future. And at the same time, you invest in them in something that we call nourishing the soul, which is as well something that is truly related to the nature of woman, which is caring, protecting, and raising our children under the premises of zero tolerance of any kind of violence against them, then we know we are bringing the best of our capacities and the best of our abilities as society to these kids. And then for adolescents and the youth, we've been working under a national strategy called Sacúdete, which basically means like shake yourself, because we know the youth is full of energy. And this national strategy has become into the real national movement to strengthen the skills and to foster the talents of the youth in order for them to really enjoy peaceful and prosperous futures based on joyful projects of life, and also understanding their participation in their societies. Because what we look forward is to have this youth mobilizing and applying all their abilities and capacities to better serve their societies, to help us solve those old version problems that we now need new and very updated solutions to them. This holistic view of the course of life from a woman perspective has had something that I believe can confirm the importance of women involved in every single step of social and economic development in our countries. It is due to our nature feeling of solidarity. It is due to our persistence. It is due to our undoubtful capacity of multitasking and understanding big pictures, and also our willingness to serve with our hearts, with devotion, with determination, that we can definitely make that balance that some of the panelists before were saying. We need to include the 50%, when there was probably that 50% that was making the imbalance. And now we can say those are the reasons why we need to include in a better way and in a more efficient way the participation of women in order to achieve not only the SDGs, but in order to keep and to transmit the most valuable part of our essence, which I have no doubt is our humanity. Thank you so much.